Hello, thank you for joining me for this edition of 365 Days of Public Speaking. My name is Lionel Yamentu. Today, you will walk away with how to use inclusive language for audience interaction, audience participation. Now, when you have the opportunity to give a speech to an audience, many times you will be prompted or you will be inclined to ask the audience questions for you to gauge their feedback or use their responses for one or another aspect of your speech. When you want to do that, most people are going to ask the question, example, how many of you have ever been in love? That is okay to ask a question like that, but what happens is that question divides your audience into two groups. A group that has been in love at some point in their lives, and another group that has never been in love and who is not with what you're saying. So what happens when you ask that question, you basically split your audience in two, and those who have not been in love are telling themselves, okay, what he's about to say does not involve me. So they kind of check out of whatever else you're going to say. That is one bad way to ask the question for audience interaction. What is the good way then? The good way is, if you or anyone you know has ever been in love, raise your hand. That is one better way of asking that same question. The second way, the better way, involves everyone in the audience, because everyone for sure either has been or knows someone who has been in love at some point or another. Let's look at two other examples. One bad, one good, one bad, one good. Let's look at a bad example. A question to the audience. Raise your hand if you have children. How about those who don't have children? They are going to feel like they are not included in whatever else you say to follow that question. One better way to ask that question would be, chances are, if you don't have children yourself, you know someone who has. That question is inclusive because it is true. If you yourself don't have children, you know someone who has children. Might be your neighbor, your father, even your father, your mother. They do have children, don't they? You are one of those children. So that question is inclusive. It includes everyone in the audience. Let's look at another example. A bad way of asking a question for audience interaction is, do you remember the best meal you've ever had? Wow. Do you remember the best meal you've ever had? Now, what is wrong with that question? What is wrong with that question is, it's going to prompt the audience to think. And for a question as serious as the best meal you've ever had, that's going to take more than just a couple of seconds to answer. It's going to involve some digging, because a lot of people have had really good meals, but the best meal ever, that's going to take some thinking. So you might end up losing some of your audience member because they want to go back and draw from the absolute best meal they've ever had. What is one better way to ask that same question? One better way is, you probably remember the last good meal you had. Mine was, you see, more simple and very effective, because when you say that, the audience could actually remember back to the time that they had the best speech ever, but it's as the good speech, the good meal they've had speech. So it simplifies the whole thing, and it becomes something that everyone feels like, oh, I can do this, I can remember the last meal I had, as opposed to, tell me what was the best meal ever you had. Big difference. Okay, remember this. Whenever you want to ask questions to get audience interaction, ask questions that are all inclusive of everyone you have in front of you. Don't ask questions that are going to have one part of the audience go left and another part of the audience go right. You don't want that. Remember to always find ways to use inclusive language, inclusive questions. Make sure you make the whole audience feel part of that experience. Well, that's basically about it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to share with a friend or two. I know you have a friend or two. If you don't, I volunteer to be your friend. That's funny. Okay, then remember to also subscribe to this channel if you can, and I know you can. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again for the next video tomorrow.